Everybody, and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well, and I hope you've had a good couple of days since I released one of my videos. And just a plea, for those of you that are watching this who have not subscribed, please do consider subscribing to my channel. I'm nearly at 3,000 subscribers when I will do my giveaway. And if you're interested in receiving one of my handmade macrame plant hangers, please do note on one of my videos to say that you're interested, and I'll enter you into my draw. When I get to 3,000, I will be doing that giveaway. Thank you all of you to all of your support, encouragement, motivational comments, and thank you so much for sharing with me where you're from and little snippets of your lives. It's really lovely hearing from so many people across so many parts of the world. So thank you very, very much. So in this video, you'll see me do some of my work on the kitchen. I now feel like I am getting the kitchen to a maintained stage, but there's a few more pockets that I want to focus on. So for instance, just above where my head is, or my wine rack there are bottles of wine that have sat there for years and that they need to be taken out, and the shelves need to be cleaned. Now I have taken these out fairly recently, probably about 6 months ago, but I've completely forgotten what bottles they are, and I need to be a bit ruthless with the alcohol that we have in the house because we don't drink quite a lot of the wines that we've got, and I just need to give it away or do something with it. Some of it probably has even turned, so there might be some stuff that I just have to put in the bin. Also, on the top of the cupboards, I've got that Christmas cake that we made and completely forgotten about, and then that sat in the cupboard for years. So I need to make a decision of what we do with that. So either eat it or bin it, not quite decided. In the rest of the video, you're going to see me sorting other things out, tidying up, sorting out my washing, clearing things out, preparing some more stuff to go out to the charity shop. Also, I felt like my piano was getting in a bit of a state, so I spent some time trying to sort the piano out, and then also the dining room table, which forever gets a bit of a state. The piano stool is bulging with so many music books, many of which are not used, and some are just the ones that I want to keep, but I haven't used them for ages. So I do a bit of a purge. I get rid of some of the music books, and also I've taken some out of the music stool and put them in a different place for storage, to try to make sure that the piano stool has got enough space for all the books that my daughter uses. Also, you'll see me tidying up a little bit in the bathroom, and then I do a little bit of work on the playroom. And my daughter was pleased because she got rid of loads of books, which meant some books from her bedroom have now moved to the playroom, which has given her more space. So she's very pleased about that. And then right at the very end of the video, if you stay here for that long, I've put a little clip to show you where we visited. My daughter doesn't have it, but I still have the ends of a bit of a lurgy, and my husband's kind of got a little bit of a lurgy. I generally feel fine, but I don't really want to risk spreading it to other people. So we didn't go out with my mum as we had planned. Instead, we spent most of the time at home, but then sort of late afternoon, we decided just to go on a little walk. I thought that way I'm not going to get near anyone, am I? I can just have a little walk, have a little look round, and yeah, just enjoy some sunshine because it's been really, really quite sunny. We popped into the city today, and it's so funny, you know, sometimes you go out and don't see anybody you know, do you? But today I saw loads of people that I knew. We had to go in the city because my husband's got 2 vouchers which are due to expire on the 28th of October. And I hate the risk of losing vouchers. So he had these gaming sort of workshop type vouchers, or gaming shop. And we've gone in there twice in order to get Ticket to Ride Japan and Italy. And we've been in there a couple of times, and each time I've said, oh yes, we'll be able to order that. And then we've not heard anything more from them. So we thought, right, we're going to go in and make sure that they actually order so we don't lose the voucher. And then also I'd got a gardening voucher. Now, as you know, I've not spent so much time in the garden this year because I've been so busy with trying to do stuff in the house and sort things out. But that has meant that my garden does look a little bit sorry for itself. And I do love being outside and I do love gardening. So I thought, well, I'll also get those vouchers. So I don't want the gardening vouchers to run out. I got one for my birthday and we got one for our wedding anniversary. So we decided to also have a little look and get something on the way back from the city. But first of all, we came out of the game shop and I saw someone who was a teaching assistant at my daughter's school, but I did my first degree with her. So I had a little chat with her and just had a general catch up while my husband and daughter waited patiently. And then I went and collected a ring which has been in for repair since May. And honestly, I was getting to a point where I was putting off going to get the ring. The problem was it's set so you've got 4 diamonds that sit really closely together. And the lady said that she actually won't sell them in her shop because if you need a repair, they're really problematic. So one of the claws had come off, and so I wanted the claw repaired because I was at risk of losing the diamonds. But then they had this great idea, they said, of adding 2 claws to give the ring strength. It was all very well. They didn't ask me to do this, they just did it. It's all very well, but then I wore it and it caught on my trousers to such a degree, it was like sharp on the edge. So I went back in and told them about it. Well, it's been backwards and forwards since May. And the last time I went in, they'd done it so it stopped catching, but one of the claws they added to give it strength was not straight. And I thought it's kind of a good idea to add strength to the ring, but if you're going to do something like that, you just still need to make sure it's straight. You know, I'm obviously not a jeweller and don't appreciate how complicated this all is. But yeah, we went in today and I looked and it's still not perfectly straight. But speaking to the jeweller, she said it's so difficult. So I decided that's the best it's going to be. So the ring looks really nice. It's all been repaired and I can wear it again. It's one that my husband bought for me when my daughter was tiny, like a baby. And we always said it's going to be mine until she's 18. And then when she's 18, it'll be hers. So that was quite nice to collect that. And then on the way back, I saw a lady that I've not seen for probably 20 years. And that I used to manage her when I worked for financial services. And I remember I set up a team and it was really good because I could choose whoever I wanted to go into the team. And she was one of the people that I chose. And she was the sort of person that was really lacked in self-confidence. Really lovely person, but really not confident or secure at all. And in her appraisals, we used to talk quite a lot about that. And I saw her go from somebody who was, doubted herself and wasn't confident and wasn't secure to someone that really could, deal with a customer complaint and so much more confident in herself. It was really lovely to see. So yeah, had a nice chat with her and a nice catch up with her. So that was good. We went back to the shop because they had to speak to their manager about whether we could get this ticket to ride. And then when we got back to the shop, they said, yeah, it's no problem. We'll put the order in on Monday and it should be here fairly soon. So we're looking forward to playing that. 2 of the most interesting countries, I think. I've never been to Japan. We would all love to go to Japan at some point in time. So that'll be fun to do that. For those of you that play Ticket to Ride, isn't it a great game? For those of you that don't, you're missing out. Give it a go. We like the England one, of course, as well, which I think is quite good for my daughter's geography. Well, actually, it's quite good for my geography because there's some places in the United Kingdom I always have to look up to see where they are. And then on the way out from Norwich, we stopped in the garden centre. And I have bought some bulbs and a few different plants. And you'll see a little bit more about that in one of my future videos. Because what I've decided I'm going to start doing is each of my videos now and the lead up to Christmas, I'm going to mention one thing that is worth thinking about now. Now, it feels like we're quite a long way from Christmas. I'm now recording this towards the end of October, so it's the 26th of October. but Christmas always creeps up on us, doesn't it? Every single year. So each time I do a little recording, I'm going to suggest something that I think that you should think about or you should consider. And in the comments, what I'm looking for are any other ideas and thoughts that you might be thinking about. So I thought about this because we went into one of our favourite home stores, the one that I showed you in before. And then we went into the garden centre and went into another shop, and it's absolutely full of Christmas things. So my thought today for you to all consider are, in the next few days, what things can you declutter and give to the charity shop which are Christmas? Things that you've enjoyed, things that you've liked, maybe things that you don't have particular memories connected to, or things that you ended up having that was somebody else's, or things that each year you kind of look around your house and think, I've got no space for this anymore. I would like you to have a think about, are there any things you could get out of Christmas storage now and you could give to charity shop that would help somebody who maybe they want to do like perhaps a second little tree in their house, maybe their child wants a little tree, and maybe they're setting up a Christmas tree in a care home. Whatever the situation is, they'll be able to get a few bits and pieces that you've decluttered, and they'll be able to buy cheaply and way in advance of Christmas. Because too often people think about giving all their Christmas things that they don't want anymore, like 1 week before Christmas, which is far too late. So that's my tip for today. And next time I will say another little tip. And if anyone else has got any other tips to add, then please do in the comments. So yeah, we had a nice day. And then tomorrow we're going to go to church in the morning. And I'm hoping that we'll get quite a lot done in the garden. That's what I want to do. And I'm also preparing, we're going to do fireworks in the garden. So I need to cut back a hedge a little bit so we've got space to have a fire in the normal place. And also place where people can stand safely. And then probably on Monday, I'm going to go and get top and some trousers from the charity shop. I always ask for ones that are in rags. I don't want to buy anything that's good quality. So I usually say, because I go most years. So I say, can I have a top and a pair of trousers that are going for rags, and I'll put a donation in. And then we'll make a guy. I might even ask if my daughter's friend would like to come round to help the guy with her, because I think my daughter would like that. I just saw in that video where I was putting things away in the cupboard, the back of my hair, and it did make me laugh because we've been watching Harry Potter. We watched up to the second one, and my daughter was a bit scared by part of it, so we've not watched any more. And then recently she started saying about it again, so we've been watching them as a family and really enjoying them. But there's that clip, isn't there, where Hermione says, "Is that really what my hair looks like from the back?" And I just now saw on one of those clips, my hair looks like that needs a good brush. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of your comments now. And a massive thank you for the time that you take to write these comments. I know I spend a lot of time with my videos and doing my voiceovers, but I absolutely love reading your comments. It's so kind how you take the time to add your thoughts and ideas. So first comment is from Brooke Howell. Brooke says, "Don't forget to visit Matt and Helen, the Dambo trolls at Kew Gardens." And I replied and said that I'd looked them up and I'd really love to go to Kew. I've never been there and I'd love to go. And they also do light walks at Halloween. But we were in the centre of London, and sadly on the train they were 1.5 hours from us. And I think that for people who live in like big countries like Canada and America, because you see United Kingdom as being so small, I think everything might seem very close together. But the fact of it is, even though Kew is classed as London, just outside sort of like Greater London, I think, yeah, I was in the centre, but on the train it's an hour and a half. And how we'd planned our days, I wouldn't want to go just for an hour. I'd like to go the whole day, so we'll have to go back and do that. Brooke says, I just love to tease. If you do see them, that'd be wonderful. And I just replied and said, that's the sort of thing that we like to do. As soon as Brooke said about going to see these trolls, that's right up my street. And I did have a little look at the map and everything, the Dambo map. But I'm interested in, Brooke, on how you got on. Did you see the ones that you were planning to see? You'll have to print out a map and mark the ones that you've seen. Zoe Brindle says, hi Emma, another motivational video and a relaxing one too. I can't understand how any parent wouldn't want to be close to their child. Mini Emma is still very young and her allergies sound a worry. I'd do the same. Zoe says, the food bank charity for me. Way too many families struggling at the moment. I hope you had the best time in London. Sending lots of love. Thank you very much, Zoe, and you'll be pleased to know that the food bank charity did win. So don't forget, November is the start. Now, someone did post, and might get to their post, someone did comment on my post and say, why wasn't I being transparent about the amount of money that was raised for Natasha's Allergy Research Foundation, and that it seemed rather odd. And I was a little bit taken aback by that comment, if I'm completely honest. I think I don't generally talk about money, and I think it is a bit of an awkward thing to bring up. And I don't think generally people on YouTube do tend to talk about how much money that they've got from their channel on a daily, weekly or monthly basis. As I said, I don't get large amounts of money, but obviously anything when you're giving it to charity counts. But what I would say for the month of November, it would be super if we could get over £100. That is what I would like to do for this food bank charity. Right, next comment is from Michelle Agren, and she's from Canada. And Michelle says, wow, 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 you've done so much. Looks amazing. Thank you, Michelle. That's lovely. Sandy says, yes, your car boot is our trunk on our cars. Love how we can compare the different words' meaning. Glad your daughter is well now. Thank you very much, Sandy. Cynthia says, hello again, Emma. You know I never miss one of your videos. As I was watching you go from room to room cleaning, sorting and decluttering, an age-old saying popped into my mind. And that was, a woman's work is never done. There are always so many things to take care of. Managing the home, caring for husbands and children, organising our paying jobs outside the home, tending our gardens. I love how you always put your husband and your daughter first. I've always liked the leggings you had on, but I never realised until today that the designs are really Mickey Mouse heads. Ha ha. Yes, they are. Cynthia, I bought those trousers when we went to Disney World, Florida, because I thought they'd be really great for travel there, to wear like on the train or the aeroplane for long distance. I thought they'd just be really comfy. They aren't really my house trousers, but I did find myself going out with them outside the house not so long ago. But I tend just to wear them. They're sort of comfy and they look okay and they're just comfy around the house. Cynthia says, if I had one wish for you, it would be for you to able to have a dryer, but I don't know where on earth you would put it. I think if I could choose between a dryer and a dishwasher, I think I'd get a dishwasher. That's what I would like space for. And my husband said I could, but I think we'd have to rip part of the kitchen out, which is a shame. M Big says, keep positive and know that some people's ignorance will never change. Try not to let it get to you. I know that's hard, but keep being you. Thank you for that comment. Next comment from B Bop Australia. Hi Emma, this is B from Australia here. Unfortunately, my decluttering efforts have come to a grinding halt. I live with several chronic conditions and last week sustained a bad injury to an artery whilst having some standard medical tests. So currently I'm immobile, stuck at home with terrible nerve pain down my arm. Oh my goodness. Even though I'm not body doubling and decluttering alongside you, I find your videos enjoyable and comforting. I love listening to stories about your home, town and family. I really hope to be on the mend soon. Hope your sweet daughter is improving too. Love from B. Now that was 2 days ago B wrote that. So B, I'd just like to know how you're doing. Brooke commented to say, oh B, I'm so sorry to hear about your nerve pain. Purpose in Mind says, I'm sorry to hear about your nerve pain. I hope you heal soon. Sending hugs from Tassie. And I replied, that's awful. So you went in to have some tests and something went wrong. Rest lots and lots. The body is wonderful at healing. And B just replied, thank you so much, Emma. So I am really hoping that you're much improved. Okay, so I'm hoping that the nerve pain's kind of gone, or at least diminished somewhat, and that you're feeling that you're getting better day by day. If you could let us know though, that'd be good. Purpose in Mind says pineapple fritters are common in Australia too. I love them, but I don't eat much fried food nowadays. No, it's probably not good for you, is it, to have too much? Crystal Langford said, thank you for another motivating video. Hannah Rogers said, you seem like a wonderful mum. It's nice to see someone doing it properly. Frankly, her allergies sound terrifying. Could you put shelves for her special knickknacks above her chest of drawers? You are going great guns at the moment. Yes, I could put some shelves above there. I do have to be careful because of this, red brick. The Norfolk red brick is very, very soft. So when you drill into it, the chances are you get half a brick come out with it. So you have to be very careful. But you've seen around my house how I have got different shelves in different places. I'd actually like to kind of cut down on some of the knickknacks that she has. And my daughter is very good at letting things go. So I'm hoping that we're going to get rid of more things, really. Kathleen in Canada says, adding to your comment about chips and gravy, here in Canada we go one step further and add cheese, curds to it. It's called poutine. And someone else mentioned about that, Kathleen. Now that sounds French. Is it French? Poutine? That sounds French to me. And is it gravy and cheese mixed? I'm very interested in that. Do you eat that regularly, Kathleen? Do you have that on your chips? Very interesting. Karen says, I'm craving fish and chips and pineapple fritters. And while we're at it, I'm also craving all the cakes and pastries from the British Baking Show. Craving might not be the right word. Maybe envious is a better word. I can get fish and chips here in Virginia, but it seems like having real ones in England would be so much more delicious. I do agree. You can get fish and chips anywhere in the world, can't you? But I do think that's one of the things that Britain does best, fish and chips. All the baking show sweets are so different from what we have here. I promise I watched this whole video and just the mention of pineapple fritters got me all distracted. Thanks for the extra scenery and Guy Fawkes fire at the ends. I thought that was quite strange, Karen, that I talked about Guy Fawkes and I talked about how he's put on the top of a big bonfire and we set him alight. And this is quite an old tradition. And at the moment, things seem to be moving more and more and more towards Halloween. And not so much for bonfires, but we do still like to mark bonfire night. And we haven't made a guy for a few years, but I added that clip from 2016. And sometimes people will shout as well, like shout, traitor, traitor, as he goes up in flames. It's quite a funny thing. But for years, people have made guys and put him on bonfires. Next comment is from Karen, and Karen agrees, and she says about Quebec is famous for poutine. French fries, curd cheese and gravy over the top. It's in that order, is it? So the chips, the curd cheese poured over and then gravy over. Many other provinces serve it now too. Well, for sure, if I went to Quebec, I would definitely try it. You've got to, haven't you? I think wherever you go in the world, it's good to try it. When I went to China, they had scorpions And my husband said, "Are you going to try it?" And I said, "Well, yes, I am." And so we went out onto the market, and they've got all these scorpions, like deep fried scorpions, and there's various photographs of me eating one. I think if you eat meat, then I don't really see that much difference. I wouldn't do this, when people eat these things that are like alive, like eating caterpillars alive. I wouldn't want to do that. But so people have said to me, "What did the scorpion taste like?" It tasted a bit like chicken, but then I think that probably just tasted of the oil that they cooked it in. It was quite nice. I quite liked it. I'd have another one if I went back. There were other things on the menu, though, that in China I wouldn't eat. Like, we went into this restaurant and we got it looked nice from outside, and then we got ushered upstairs, and then you got given the menus with these photographs with, like, pig's noses and pig's feet and all this sort of thing. And I said to my husband, "Oh, like, these photographs have really put me off." So we left. And then another time, I'm thinking about all things to do with food now in China and travel. Another time, I think it was in Beijing. You've got like one of the best places to get crispy duck. It's like well known for crispy duck. So we got told that unfortunately you needed to book like 2 months in advance. So this is one of the times in my life that I can think back to where I told a porky, because we got dressed up and we went out into the evening, and the man said, "Oh yes, can I have your name?" So I gave my name. I didn't lie. I didn't say, "I've got a booking." He said, "Can I take your name?" So I gave my name. And of course, he looked down the list and there was no one of my name. So then they started getting a bit of a panic because they didn't have me listed. And then they went and checked with someone else and they said, "Oh, we're very, very sorry. I think there's been a mistake, but we don't have your booking listed. But we can try and sort you out a table." And then off they went and sorted a table out for us. William Hawthorne. So that's Lizzie from Wales. Lizzie says, "Oh, Emma, that's terrible of your in-laws. Think what they like, but shut up and don't pass comment. I totally get you. I think you're fab at letting her go away. She's a youngster with allergies. You do what you know is necessary. You're a lovely mum, and I'd love to have you as my daughter-in-law." Oh, what a lovely thing to say. And I did reply and say, really, whatever I would have done wouldn't have suited. The shame of it is that if they were talking about me to their next door neighbour or to family or friends, they'd probably say, "Oh yes, my daughter-in-law this, my daughter-in-law that, and oh, my son this, oh, and they went and stayed near to her because of this, this and this," and say it as like a really positive thing. But to our faces, it always feels like that's like a bit like snidey, and really isn't anything to do with anyone else. Like a number of you have said, if that's what we choose to do, that's what we choose to do. And I just replied back to Lizzie to say, on occasions they have kept their opinions to themselves, but then what they've done is years later they've then shared them. So for example, we went away for a few days earlier in the year, didn't we, to Efteling. We had a really lovely time. But then, like, on the last day, something came up about when my daughter was really small, and there were various comments made about when she was a baby and breastfeeding and all these different things that came out that had never been said at the time. It was really odd. Like, so one of the things that was said was, and I shared this actually with someone who wrote on my post, was my father-in-law said, "Oh, well, we told you that your daughter was tongue-tied." And I just looked at him like completely gobsmacked, because nobody said any such thing apart from my sister. And my sister said probably when my daughter was about 4 weeks old, could she be tongue-tied? And as a first-time mum, I'd asked the midwife, I'd asked another midwife, I'd asked a health visitor, and I'd gone to 2 doctors, and they'd all told me that she was not tongue-tied. But I continued to have problems, and then I ended up going to like a specialist breastfeeding clinic who said, yes, she's got a really prominent tongue tie. I think I've told you some of this before. So I just looked at him, absolutely shocked when he said that. He said, we told you that because that's what your sister-in-law said. Now, my sister-in-law is a health visitor. So I just couldn't quite believe what they were saying. So I said, that just isn't true. And I know some people have said, you've just got to ignore it, don't rise to it, don't comment. And that's what I do for a lot of the time. But when something is said about something which is so emotive and was a really difficult time for me, and then to try and almost rewrite history, I said that isn't true. And my husband was sort of looking, because obviously you're away with people, you don't want any sort of difficult feeling, do you? And my father-in-law continued, yes, that's what we told you. I said, you did not. I said, and I called my sister-in-law and asked her if she had any ideas as to what the problems could be. And I went through all the symptoms, and I talked about, they always ask you about wet and dirty nappies, don't they? I talked about that in great detail, and my sister-in-law had no idea. She had no suggestion, and if I'm completely honest, neither of them breastfed their children, and certainly my father-in-law has no experience of breastfeeding, so not really in a position to comment or know anything about tongue tie. And then he continued and said about how, that was partly the problem with, you cause various problems because of breastfeeding. And I thought in the end, honestly, I think my mother-in-law could tell that I was getting upset about it, and in the end told my father-in-law to stop going on about it. But that just made me think they are always so opinionated about things that they don't really have any knowledge about. And yet, something like that, they weren't opinionated about the time, but quite clearly they've talked all about it, not in front of me, and come up with some sort of story which is their version of the history, which I find quite frustrating, really, having, gone through that and experienced that and lived that every single day. And they've just kind of made up their own little story as to what happens. So that sort of thing. So you get the instant opinions, which, telling me that I need to put my house in a tip and various comments like that. But then you also get comments from things from years ago, which frustrating to say the least. So I decided at this point, you can see, I decided to go through that drawer. I've got loads of things in that drawer from many, many years ago. And I went through some photographs actually from our honeymoon. We went to Dubrovnik, and that was in the days of the traditional cameras. So I've got 6 photographs of fish and 6 photographs of little kittens and 6 photographs of the same tower. So again, only small space. I'm only creating small amounts of extra space. But by the time I then shut that drawer, I had got a pile of things that can go straight into recycling, which was good. I then started looking at the shelves, and I asked my daughter whether she still wanted the China doll. And I didn't think she would want that China doll, but she said she still wanted to keep that. So at this point, my daughter managed to get rid of quite a lot of books, which was good. And that's where she then made some extra space in her own room, because she was able to get rid of quite a few. So there's a pile that's going to a charity shop. There's 2 that are real special ones from when she was little. And there's a couple of books that I'm going to sell. So next comment is from Andrea. And Andrea says, perfect timing, this comment. Ignore your unwanted comments from family members who do not understand. Again, you and your hubby are perfect parents for little Emma. God chose you to be her mama, no one else. So no one will ever understand. And it's none of anyone else's business. Big hugs. As always, Andrea is on point. Thank you, Andrea, for your comment. I did go back and say to her, I know you're right, but, so many things are said, but never with any apology. And there have been situations where I've said, I'm really sorry we had that situation, and there's never any apology coming back. Really, quite a difficult situation. And yet, we can have some really happy times and great times. And, my daughter has got lovely grandparents. So I do focus on that. Andrea replied saying, I do understand, unfortunately. If you remember, I've shared with you that my mother-in-law and brother-in-law and sister-in-law, all on my husband's side, have been very difficult towards Andrea. Unfortunately, we've had to cut ties with them because of how toxic they are. And to this day, none of them have ever apologised either and actually refused to. You're a strong mama. I can't believe that, Andrea. Don't understand why people are like that. Andrea says it hurts and I hear you and it's a shame. Really, if you think about it, I see it as you and your hubby are enjoying every bit of little Missy's life. Nothing wrong with enjoying the gift the Lord has allowed you. I think the best thing for me to do is just let it go in one ear and out the other. Focus on all the positives and also not spend too much time with people. I think with certain people, you can end up spending too much time with them. And that's why that then becomes a bit of a challenge. And I think, if you go away with somebody, that is a big change, isn't it? There's a big difference. So if you spend a bit of time, but not too much time, then it's easier for everyone to get along, I guess. Jen said, could you move the display cabinet or bookcase that you have in the hallway and put a narrow wardrobe there? Yes, I could. I could do that. I could have a little shuffle around. I used to have the cabinet, which is in my dining room. I used to have that in the hall because there's quite a lot of space there, really. So that's an option. Hannah said, is there a shelf on the back of the puppet show thing? If so, you could turn it and leave it where it is and use it for shoes. There is a shelf on the back of the puppet show thing. I'm really hoping that I'm going to sell that and I'm going to put the money in my daughter's saving account. That's what I'm hoping. Lisa says, I love London, but 2 days is enough for me. Enjoy. Oh, that's that comment that I mentioned earlier. Candice McLeod. Hi, Candice. I hope you're well. Candice says, I'm just wondering why you aren't transparent about how much we helped raise and what was donated. Just seems a little odd. You're still one of my favourite YouTubers, so I'm glad of that, Candice. I did reply to Candice and just said I found it a bit uncomfortable talking about money like this. Probably just how I am. And then Jessica Stedman says she doesn't need to give the figures and watching, commenting, liking her videos doesn't cost us any money anyways. So in a couple of days, it's going to be the beginning of November and I am going to, everything for the month of November is going to be given to that charity that I mentioned that helps people who are struggling. People who I like to sort of see it as, that's that sort of, that safety net, stopping people from falling through the net. So that might be that they help with school books, they help with school uniform, that people can go along and pay £5 for a big bag of shopping. They provide support. I've even heard that they've done supported with things like counselling sessions if that's what somebody needs. So it's really any sort of situation where somebody is struggling financially, they can support in lots of different ways. So just remember, every time you like my video, comment on my video, watch my video, and the longer that you watch the video, I get money for every 1,000 views. So that's how the channel makes the money from the advertising. So anything that you can do to help in the month of November will mean that we'll have more money to give at the beginning of December. I think that's when YouTube do the November figures. Usually arrives in sort of the second or third week of December. It's finalised, I think. So that's what we're going to do for the month of November. So I'm hoping that we can raise lots of money and that'll be so lovely. So every time you watch a video, if you watch it for a little bit longer or you go back and watch an old video, know that you're going to help raise money for that charity. So you can see the playroom is still a bit of a muddle. We really need to spend time on doing the Lego and we need to make a decision on the Sylvanians. I think a lot of the Sylvanians my daughter is not going to want to get rid of. So we'll have to decide about that, but they are taking up a lot of space. And I said to her the other day, we really wanted to make this room into a space that she can use. Maybe even have a craft table And we could have an office in here as well. And actually just make it a space that can be used. So it is getting better, but I probably need to spend a day or so on it. So thank you very, very much for watching my video. Thank you for your support, for your kindness, for your advice and ideas. I very, very much appreciate it all. And then now towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you where we popped out to on Friday afternoon, which is Blickling Hall. That was where the birthplace of Anne Boleyn, who was the second wife of King Henry VIII. Now, many of you will know, even if you're not from Great Britain, or if you don't have our royal family, because I know obviously Australia and Canada, we all have the same royal family. But for those of you who don't know, Henry VIII had 6 wives, and they go in the order of divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. So his relationship with Anne Boleyn is unique in that meant that the religion across the United Kingdom really changed forever. Because it was because of Anne Boleyn that he wanted to get divorced. He wasn't married to her very long, and of course then said various things such as that she'd committed treason and she'd done various things wrong, and she was beheaded at the Tower of London. So my daughter was learning about Henry VIII at the moment, which is one of the reasons why we spent a little bit of time walking around the Tower of London, and obviously we took her to Blickling Hall so we could talk a little bit more about it. Now, it's such a lovely sunny day, such an opportunity to be outside with still blue skies and not many clouds in the sky. It's really lovely. The building is quite incredible. We didn't go in the house. We spent the time looking across the lake, walking around the grounds, and then we went in the walled garden, and I got a couple of apples, and in order to make a crumble. And we just had a little wander around, and then we made our way home. So thank you for watching my video. Thank you very, very much for your ongoing support and your kindness and your suggestions and ideas. And yeah, just thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye! Look at these.
I know the colours. I was about to say to you. Wonderful, wonderful.